I'm John Skuris.
And I'm Stephanie Weber.
We're here for the Show Me How podcast, episode number 16.
Woo, woo,
Sweet 16, Stephanie.
Sweet 16.
What's this? And it is a kind of a sweet topic, too. What's
it
the
is
topic?
a bizarre topic, but it's something that's very relevant to the days that we're in now.
It's very true. It's the weirdest client requests.
Right.
So we should be doing, we'll do the scary client requests around Halloween.
Oh, we could do that. Yeah,
right?
for sure.
This is going to be the weirdest. They're also a little scary.
Anyone interested in real estate, this applies to. Right.
She's just truncating the 10 different topics we have under there.
Right.
It's anyone.
Anyone.
Basically. And we're here to entertain you with stories of our unusual clients, right?
Right.
Who's come up with the craziest, goofiest stuff and how we navigated it. And sometimes poorly.
Sometimes you don't.
Sometimes poorly. And sometimes, I've learned I worked for a communication training company in the beginning of my career. And we were taught how to present in front of corporate audiences.
Yeah, but there's no
boards.
emotion in corporate audiences.
Well, no, there is. Surprisingly, believe it or not, that's actually why I like commercial real estate. There's less emotion, but no matter where you go, there's emotions, and people get linked in and tied into stuff, and that's really what we're going to talk about today. Even in corporate America, people get connected to these weird things that they want. It's like, why do you want that, right?
Right.
So you'd be in these meetings and people would have these requests and you're like, what? How does that have anything to do with what you're trying to accomplish?
Right. Like the sign for the parking or something weird.
Yeah, who knows? I want 5 more handicap spaces than we need. What? Because he has a handicapped child or something that he wants to make up for, right? So, and he apparently couldn't park a few times.
Right.
So now he wants 5 extra spaces.
5 extra spaces.
So anyway, there's all sorts of stuff there. And when you get prepared for communication presentation skills, it's all about how you handle it. And it's really, we'll share some of my experience with that. I worked at a company called the Executive Technique. They trained Bill Gates, who was a complete computer nerd at the time. I'd never met him at the time, but I saw him on TV. Right. He would fly in to meet with the president of my company into Chicago before his board meetings and I think certain news junkets or something like that. So he would prepare so he'd get able to handle the questions and the pressure during the communication sessions. And that's what I worked at for 5 years. So I was very well trained in communicating and presenting. And one of the main things is do not lose your cool and just take the time to process this request. So when
I responded to some of my bizarre requests, like, are you kidding me?
Yes, not what you're supposed to do. That literally happens. What you're supposed to do is just be quiet. And it's the hardest thing for people to do because time, when you're quiet for like 5 seconds, people just feel like it's an eternity.
Exactly.
And we train behind video cameras. So you'll sit there and you try not to smile, try not to break a look like, are you an idiot? You can't do any of that.
You can't do any of it.
You just have to think and process, okay, how do I answer this
this without
request without making them feel like a moron? So because maybe they're emotional about something. Maybe something's hit a...
Well, on the residential side, it's definitely an emotional roller coaster for them.
Yeah. Well, we'll go into the story I had with a commercial deal. I lost $125,000 because this customer... I don't want to talk about it right now. We'll go on to the episode. It's making me upset just thinking about it right now. But let's move into it. So...
The squirrels were running around and they're going.
My hair standing up at the back of my throat. This moment was a very bad experience in my life. Anyway, every client's unique, but some have requests that make you wonder. Are you crazy? Are they living in the same reality as the rest of us?
I think not.
Which in the past 4 years, I'd say there are definitely people living in a different dimension. Wouldn't you?
Right.
Yeah.
So like, the guy who wanted the pet parrot.
Yeah. I want your parrot. I want the, people.
I want your lizard.
I want the picture of your grandmother. You had an episode where somebody wanted to keep a family.
So
long time family,
I had
not heirloom,
sold a house for one of my mom and dad's friends, and I told them to take down everything because we know it's affixed to the ceiling. It is part
Anything
of
affixed, right?
Right. So I said, "Do you think you should take down the chandelier?" no one's going to want the chandelier. I'm like,
It's an
I
old
really
chandelier.
think that we should switch out the chandelier if you guys really want the
Uncle
chandelier.
Willie carved that out of whalebone
It was from Ireland, shipped over on the boat in the
while
1800s.
drinking beer in Ireland.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, lo and behold, some buyer came in and we were talking, blah, 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 very interested, wrote the offer. What did they put on the offer?
We have to have the chandelier. Not even like we'd like it.
No.
It's a contingency.
It's
We're
contingent
walking
on
away.
the chandelier.
The only reason we want this house is because of that chandelier.
Because it was in the dining
Right.
room next to the, solarium with the zinc floor, and the chandelier was there, and
It's the only chandelier that
only
could work.
chandelier that
Only
would
one.
work. Yep.
The whole house beside needed to be
and what happened to
torn
the deal?
down. It didn't really. No, the whole thing. Somebody didn't handle that right. I don't know which broker on which
I
side.
don't know.
But
It was.
oh.
I told them to take it down. They insisted no one would care. The other broker was like, "What?" And I'm like, "What?"
Well, what's the moral of that story? Weird requests can derail deals.
Right.
They could add headaches to the deal, obviously, for the poor brokers like us.
Yep.
Or they could become stories like
Stories.
this that you never do. You'd be on a podcast, you'd be able to tell this, right?
No, never
It's
knew.
a great opportunity.
We did end up selling the house to somebody else after they took the chandelier down. So,
Lesson learned. So we're going to go through a little bit about the most outrageous requests we've seen, right?
right.
How to handle curveballs without losing the deal, like the chandelier deal.
Chandelier
really want
deal.
to get into that one.
There was no recovering on that one. No.
And then which weird requests might actually be opportunities. So if you're a great salesperson or broker, right? We're all in sales, essentially, right? Selling or buying, you're still selling, by the way, just so you know. I worked in the communication training, as I said, and all these people couldn't get in through their head that you're all in sales.
Everyone's in sales.
So we're in, give you an example of this. We had a group of engineers. I think they were from Motorola or Sinclair Broadcasting, but these engineers couldn't get it through their thick head because we were telling them, oh, you're selling. We're engineers. We don't sell.
Right.
That's what lowly salespeople do. We're like, well, do you have to get a project approved by your manager so you can build XYZ? Well, yeah, but that's not sales. It's like, hello, McFly. It is absolutely selling. You got to sell them that this widget you want to build
right.
is going to produce a profitable result and a benefit to your clients.
Exactly.
So we're all selling. Great point.
Everyone's selling at any time, at anywhere, with everything.
Yeah. Now, what's one of the big myths we have also, by the way? So the client is always right. When I heard that, I always hated it because it's just not accurate, right?
It's not that they're always right. It's that you always want to hear them.
The client's goals matter, right?
Right.
Great point.
We want to make sure that we're aligned with what their expectations are and that we hear what they're talking about, but
Yeah.
they might not understand the entire picture of what they're talking about.
Exactly. You have to help them get to why do they really want that? What
Right.
really
What
is getting
is really
underneath
going
there?
on here with the parrot?
And how,
Like-
how mommy had a parrot, or obviously
Parrots are
someone-
dirty. They throw their shit out of the cage.
That's how you talk
right?
about it. Like, no, the parrot's a great idea. I love that. I never
I'll buy you
understood
a
how
parrot.
people cleaned up all the parrot poo that went all over the walls.
Right.
And then I remember my friend's son dying from parrot feces.
Parrot feces,
Yeah, he got a
eating him.
disease.
Because,
It was
and aren't you
horrible.
having a baby?
But
Yeah.
I think it's don't bring that to Stephanie or I, because we'll talk you out of it. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I'm
Sounds
like your
like a
dog
great-
won't die from
your
the
kid
parrot
will crawl
feces.
on the floor eating poop and
Or-
shells.
Or when your dog eats it, it'll choke on its bone and die.
Right.
I mean, that's
Die,
another one,
yeah.
right?
Once the parrot gets out, the dog or cat.
Nobody will be buying that parrot when we're done with them, Stephanie.
Oh, no, not at all.
All right, so let's go into the top 5 strangest requests. So,
All right.
what, unusual inclusions. So I think we just touched on one, right?
Right.
Your client wanted, or not your client, it was the buyer.
Buyer.
The buyer's client wanted the chandelier, but the buyer wants the seller's boat that's in the yard, right? Now, this isn't, for Chicago and metropolitan areas, we're not going to hear this type of stuff.
No,
but I was
not at
just
all.
at an auction with your brother, by the way,
Oh,
out in
Jesus.
Goonie Goo Goo, and we're at this farm, And this dude, he was a doctor, a dentist in the area, and let me tell you, I think that they made family. He just passed away last year, so God rest his soul. But he was a dentist, so I don't know. Did they go to heaven?
I
anyway?
love dentists.
Dentists, I'm skeptical.
Yeah,
of
you
them,
don't like going to them, but you're certainly appreciative of what
I
they do.
do have a dear friend, Rita, who's a dentist,
Right.
so she's number one in the line to heaven. I can tell you that. But this doctor had accumulated over $300,000. It should have been probably valued at $500,000 in
Of
stuff
junk?
of what's junk to you,
Right.
To Dean and I, and probably Mike would definitely not be junk, right?
It's all junk.
We loved it. No, but
You
like
don't need
backhoes.
it. Do you need it? A backhoe? You don't need a backhoe.
He had 2 racks. No, I think more than 2 racks. 10-foot long racks of hunting clothing. And let me tell you, good hunting clothing, a good jacket for hunting is $300. This stuff had tags on it.
And how
that's
much were
just
they
some of
selling it for?
10 cents, $10. I bought a mounted duck, mallard, 2 prints of hunting scenes, a crazy, what are they called? A reef made out of pheasant parts from a dead pheasant somebody shot. A little quail,
Wait a minute,
ceramic
are you
quail.
putting the reef on your front
No,
door?
it was all $5. All of it. They sold it in a packet for $5. I was like, I'll take it all. I wanted only the duck. I ended up with all this other stuff. Now I have to find the paintings and all the stuff. I went and priced them. They're like $250, $300 a piece
For what?
for these prints that are signed by some lunatic hunter artist. So I got all this $5. I got all the stuff. So we're side noting, but
So that's what you and Dean went to go see
Yeah.
was this sale. So we can
Yeah.
say all this stuff you want to get in the sale will be at an auction when
go
you're
to an
dead.
auction. Yes.
Right.
Don't get it from this guy. Just go to auctions. I'm
Just
telling
go
you.
to auctions
Skip all
and
this stuff.
skip. Otherwise, your family's just going to sell it at auction, and it doesn't matter.
Essentially, that's what ends up happening. So all this guy's stuff gets sold at auction. You don't need to ask for it as part of the close. They'll actually
Exactly.
give it to you.
Right.
No, this is bad advice here. Anyway, the point was, you see all these unusual things. People get their mindset on them. When you're out, if I was to buy that gentleman's home, for instance, my point was he had an awesome tractor. He had this
You don't
backhoe.
need a tractor.
He had a quad. Well, if you're at a farm like that, you
Well,
need a tractor.
yeah, but-
Dean has 2.
Oh,
Your
because
brother has 2 tractors.
He's got serious issues. So let's move on
One's an
from
empty.
him.
But you see this stuff, and people end up wanting it, right? So
Right.
stash it before people come to
As
see your
the
house.
wreath
Yeah.
with the quail parts that
Hide-
now will go on John's
hide your
front
s-
door for Christmas.
It actually is pretty cool, but it kind of freaks me out. It's like dead bird wings. But
Which part freaks you out? Because I'm freaked out by the whole thing.
I'll show it to you. I'll bring it.
No.
Bring it to one of the episodes.
We don't want it.
We'll hang it right here.
We'll hang it right here. The
It'll be
quail
great.
parts right here.
We have to figure that one out, Mike.
So also, what about the weird date thing? Have you run across that?
Well, I believe in that stuff too, actually. So times and dates, I think there's some power behind them spiritually, but a lot of people really do believe that. So you are going to run into people that believe that nowadays.
Okay.
And, accommodate it. I don't see why you wouldn't, unless it's like, 3:33 a.m. You have to do the close. Obviously, there's some limitations. If you want to do
Right.
it on March 13th, okay, it's a little creepy. But, 3:33 in the morning, no. 4:44 in the morning,
No.
1:11 in the morning, yeah.
Right. No.
Those are spiritual, and people believe in that stuff.
Okay. Well, they're not. But okay.
What about custom alterations, like repainting the entire property in a specific way, or a color scheme before possession? Or
I mean, when I'm listing it, I always tell them, leave it as is, and someone else
Yeah.
is going to repaint it. If you want to negotiate, okay, are you going to pay for the repainting, and you split the cost to get it done? Maybe
no,
that. But
I'm not big on that. The whole thing about why you're buying your own house is to make it yours.
Right.
I don't think it's the responsibility of the seller to help make it yours.
no.
And I agree with you. If I'm selling something, I'm white boxing it, or simple colors.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really want to create a big color scene. Oh, I love colors. I think they're great. Well, not, just keep it let them come in and paint it.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
But if you run into these requests, how do you deal with them? I try and a lot of this is, we're giving you the information, right? But you may be the buyer or selling broker,
Right.
but it depends on the person on the other side.
Exactly.
So I had just a situation come up with one of my deals, and I could tell there's something going to go on from one of the customers. And so I was talking to this broker. I'm like, listen, you need your act together. Okay. You need to be, he's just, it ain't connecting. So
Yeah.
he's not prepared at all for anything. I mean, literally for this whole process,
Nothing.
disconnected with everything. He doesn't read the emails that come in. He calls me up and he's like, so John, how are we doing on the deal? I'm like, what am I, your assistant? But so this thing's coming up. I'm like, get ready. Because you have to do your job.
Right.
Well, I can't do your job for you.
Right.
You need to be prepared so we
Is
don't
he
lose
the
this
buyer
deal.
or seller?
He's the seller's broker.
Okay.
So, why I'm getting into this is, if the person on the other side of the table, the broker, is a moron or is
He's not good.
No. There's some people that are morons, but not that this guy's a moron. I don't mean that. I like this guy very much. He just,
Out
he's
to
not
lunch.
tuned in. But you have to prepare these people
Right.
to deal with this. 'Cause
Exactly.
We're giving you the tools and suggestions to be thinking about it in advance so you
Right.
don't get caught by this. And you sellers and buyers out there, you don't get caught into it either. You can make these requests,
Yeah.
but just understand there's going to be ramifications to them potentially.
Right.
So don't get stuck in the mud on them. Don't stick your feet in. Some things are a benefit, and we'll get into that in a minute
Yeah.
too, and we'll explain how this could be turned into a benefit. So actually, we have data from the National Institute of Realtors too. Believe this, 8% of real estate transactions experience unusual terms, which end up slowing the deal down.
Right.
So, I work with some very specialty customers that have all kinds of tax shelter strategies. The guy, some people know very specific things I've learned a lot from. They incorporate in like Montana and
Yeah.
Wyoming. It's like the land of free things there. You want to incorporate in those locations. It's amazing. The
And Puerto
benefits.
Rico's big too, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they probably have some tax shelter
Yeah.
benefits. I don't know what they are, but I know a little bit more about Wyoming and Montana. But, so they might require like a purchase entity is special or something like that.
Right.
So that's, something you commonly run into, but some of these other crazy requests are not so common. But 8% of the deals have these types of requests. So you need to be thinking about it because it's going to happen. You do 10 deals a year, one of them's probably going to run into something
Exactly.
like that. Right? Personal property inclusion disputes,
We talked
again.
about the chandelier that blew
Well,
up in my face.
And it's upon the seller's broker. It's their responsibility.
I tried.
Well, no, absolutely you did. And in commercial, we know this is a big deal for sure.
Right.
Some people are like, oh, that channel looks great. It'll help sell the house. It's like, no.
No.
If it's affixed, it has to be removed. So in commercial, if you have your black iron, your exhaust vents, even could be some artwork. Artwork, I think, is easier. It's not so much.
It's
more
only
about,
if it's screwed on the wall, though, isn't it? Like
yeah, if
then
it's affixed to the wall, not hung
right,
on the wall.
not hung on the wall.
Right. So that makes it easier for you. But
Thank you, Mike.
so in commercial, it's constantly like that. But just prepare your seller, please,
Right.
so we don't have these issues. That's what a good broker's there for.
Yep.
All right. So we have some anecdotes about some situations. Why don't you take us through those?
Which one?
Adaptable. The Florida condo buyer who insisted the seller leave their flamingos. This is a story that was in the news, and we were looking into it. And these things are worth less than $200.
Right.
You got to wonder what's going on here. Are these people crazy, or were they just using that as an excuse to get out of the contract?
Yeah, you
know.
never. You kind of. That's one of those things that maybe like weirdly they like flamingos.
Well, this deal closed, but it closed 2 weeks late as a result.
Right.
So, again, watch out what you're asking for. And you were talking about buying somebody, purchasing something
Oh,
for somebody, right?
Well, that was because I was so frustrated. But
Well, this broke. Imagine these pink
wants
flamingos.
you probably want to go Walmart.
I would immediately
and,
send an Amazon link to the
Exactly.
buyer.
Like, here you
Here's
go.
where you get your brand new
here's your
flamingos,
thing. Yeah.
Right?
Because it gets to be like so annoying that, like, I had a client that, after the inspection, the washer they weren't saying replace the washer and dryer. The washer was leaking and we had to repair it, and the repair was $150.
Yeah.
And it took me 3 days
I know.
to make them agree to that.
Obviously, a responsibility of the seller.
Yes.
And just, so you don't know how people get anchored in this stuff.
Yeah, and
how in God's
I
name
think
do you
it's
think it's not your
really-
responsibility?
Really important to keep the buyer and the seller away
Separate.
from each other.
Yes.
Don't have them interact.
All right.
If your seller wants to be at the open house, absolutely 100% not.
All right, I'm going into my horrible story now.
Oh, God. Let's all
Horrible.
prepare.
All right. So, commercial story.
Is this where you lost $125,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Commercial story.
Okay.
Very
We're
traumatic.
preparing.
So, two high value, high net worth individuals.
Yes.
One, a very confident, smart attorney and successful realtor, real estate lawyer,
Okay.
and investor. And then the other, a highly successful developer and very, very intelligent, but very ego driven.
I'm shocked that they're not both ego driven at this point.
One more than the other. So we get this deal ready. I walk them through it, selling a plot of land.
Oh, what?
And it's a plot of land for development. A good size sale. It's like $2.5 million. I'm the broker on both sides.
Yeah.
It's like 5% commission, maybe
Yeah.
6%. And so more than 125,000. And then we're at the last day, and the seller is just, he's bent. The buyer is a good negotiator, and he's getting the price bumped down. Seller is just irate. This is a great deal. He's very frustrated. And I'm like, listen, it's what people will pay. This guy's
Right.
willing to pay this. Let's make it happen. So they come to an agreement. Now the buyer is driving down. He's in his car, driving from the suburbs downtown Chicago to drop off the check for $2.2 million. And he calls I never should have put them in touch. He calls the seller to just verify that he's coming and where it is. And the seller insults him and berates him on the phone. And the buyer's like,
Don't say it.
screw this guy. I'm not buying the property. And he gets off at the next exit
Turns
and
around.
goes back home, rips up the check.
And you don't even know this is happening.
He called me. I'm done. I'm not doing the deal. I'm like, what happened? He goes, that guy's an asshole. And he just screamed and yelled.
Oh,
and
my
I'm not dealing with
God.
it. And, I know they're both highly successful, intelligent guys, but that's how the deal blew up.
Right.
I never should have put them in touch with each other.
No.
Totally my fault.
Yeah.
And I've never done it again. I'll tell you that.
Right.
So.
The
anyway.
chandeliers never hung on the ceiling either.
No,
So
that cost me dearly. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had to get that one out.
are you better now?
I'm somewhat better. I still
Yeah.
feel the pain, though. Anyway, okay. Chicago warehouse sale where the buyer required a mural on the building to be preserved indefinitely.
How does
Right?
that work?
Well, I mean, it's not you're the one that's going to own the property.
Right.
How are you going to preserve it indefinitely? It's also zoning code. It's the city or wherever your community you're
Is
living
it
in.
still up there?
No, this is a different deal. But you can't request indefinite, sustainment of something you're purchasing.
No.
Because it's not that person's responsibility.
No.
It's the city. It's the degradation of the
Well,
site.
isn't it your responsibility to make sure the
Yeah,
mural
of course
stays
it
up
is.
there? Yeah.
So, you have to manage that and say, well, look, you're going to own it. So you maintain it.
Yeah.
But the city could change the ordinance. The city could change things.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on? Now, I had a situation where a client did put a mural up for Kanye West
Oh.
on a city building, and it was like a 2-story high mural. It was about 2-3 years ago, right downtown on Chestnut Street.
That went over well.
Well, he didn't get any permits. No permits. No, it was a beautiful mural on the side of this
Sure.
building, which he owned the building. That was good news.
No one was questioning him while he was doing it?
No, he's old city family.
Yeah.
We all know,
Right.
build and ask for forgiveness later. So anyway, he put it up
In the heart of the Gold
and then
Coast.
all this in the heart of the Gold Coast. I don't understand how he got away with it.
Yeah.
I think it's probably because all those buildings are all situated there.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of ongoing development, so not a lot of building inspectors there.
No.
Right? They're
Not
more
at
in the
all.
outlying neighborhoods where they're doing 2 flats, 3 flats, right?
Right.
So nobody saw what was going on. Nobody that was responsible for that anyway. And they may have got it done in like one day. Who knows?
Who knows? I don't even know
In
how
the
long
city,
it takes to do it.
you learn.
Yeah.
If you're going to do something that's a little sketchy,
You might do it
get
overnight
it done
too.
quick
Yeah,
on a
do it.
weekend,
Yeah.
something like that. Anyway, this thing was up, and the city of Chicago came to him finally. I don't know how long it took. Months, though. He had it up for months. They're like, you have to take that down. He's like, well, yeah, okay, I'll get to it. They're like, $5,000 a day, I think was the fine. So they kept it up for another week. $35,000.
Did he have to pay them fine
He may have, but he's friends with,
with friends?
they were friends together, so I'm sure he wrote him a check or something, or the city cut him a break. I don't know, but they got it resolved.
Wow.
He had to take it down.
He did have to take it down.
He did ultimately,
Yeah.
but another crazy request. And
Yes.
had he, by the way, so why it was kind of relevant is that building went for sale. So if they sold it and had no permits,
They could have put a lien, they could have had a lien
they,
or
they would have fined the
something.
new owner.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to make sure when you buy stuff like that, what are you getting into? So I want the mural. Is the mural even legal? First
Right,
of all, and
exactly.
then second of all, I want it indefinitely. Okay, it's an indefinite $5,000 a day fine. Sure,
It's all
go ahead.
yours.
It's all yours. Sign me up. So when this rolls beautifully into our next episode or
Oh,
segment, when to say yes versus when to say no, Stephanie.
Right. Right.
So.
When do you say yes?
Well, look at the MLS and comps and see if there's similar requests that
Right.
have been accepted. Now, obviously, you're not going to see a lot of these, but there could be some zoning stuff that goes on and some requests for particular types of equipment that are kept into the building. Even a vehicle, could be kept in. So that stuff can go on. These are more commercial deals
Yeah.
than really residential, though. Do legal consultation. So these are tools and search tips we're giving you here.
Definitely.
Always check and see if the request violates zoning.
Zoning.
Like the infamous mural.
Yes.
HOA rules, right?
Right.
You can't have, you can't have like a door knocker. You couldn't have the pheasant reef on your door.
No, you could not.
At a lot
At
of
some
places,
HOAs,
right?
you
My
could not
beautiful
have
doctor's
dead
pheasant
carcasses
reef.
on your door. No.
Hey, it's part of nature. Come on, don't give it such a hard
Who
time.
would make a reef out of a dead pheasant?
A lot of people apparently.
Weirdo.
You can't have, hazardous materials out there.
No, you can't.
Uninsurable stuff. Yeah.
No.
And there might be lender requirements that you can't do as well.
Right.
So
Can't
the
you do
lender
weird
may not
stuff?
require you to keep this particular roof deck or something. Like your brother built an
Oh,
entire roof
God,
deck
don't even
onto
talk
your dad's
about-
3-flat.
I know.
He built a whole separate master bedroom on the top
On the top with no permits.
with no permits. And
And my mom
ultimately,
got fined.
the zoning board came a calling because some
Right, because
neighbor
he had parties
narked
up
him
there
out.
every
yes,
night.
he did.
Yes.
He built a hot tub, which was, by the way, the hot tub of death.
A hot tub.
It was.
It
So
was
there was
over the hole.
There's a hole in the middle of the building. It's 2 3-flats pushed together, and there's an opening.
That used to be
It's
the
like
old
8 by
ventilation
8,
system.
old ventilation system, windows in there.
Yeah.
And he put a piece of steel angled across and
Put this,
wedged the hot tub on there.
and you got in it.
And I did get in it multiple times, but I always I'm not sitting on that end because you would fall 4 stories.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
your death, where my dad had
And
fencing
I don't
on the
know-
bottom.
Even
Yes.
Dean, who's Mr. Cautious, I don't understand how he let that go. But
I don't
nobody, we made it through alive. Everyone made
no
it.
idea.
Everyone-
No idea.
And I'm telling you, there were some sketchy people up there.
There was sketchy people up
Very
there.
sketchy, but they
Yeah.
all survived.
Oh my God.
So what are some red flags? You got to watch out for those illegal modifications.
with no permits.
No permitted situations. I actually have a weird situation. It's kind of a permitting situation. It's more about leasing, but I have this broker who I'm dealing with, and she's like trying to get her client in this building I represent, and and it's a huge lease. It's like great, $1.5 million. I'm all for it. But I'm looking at it, and her customer has a child activities that she does. It's dance studio.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, is it zoned that way? And she goes, well, the place down the street that I was interested in for my client has, I talked to them, they have a child activity place. I'm like, okay, great. So maybe the alderman overrode the rule or something else happened.
Right.
So I went and researched it because I'm a good broker.
Yeah.
And I found out they're illegal. Their business is illegally operating child activities. They don't have a child activity license. So they're in our region. And so she's like, you need to get this done or else we'll go to that other location. I'm like, I don't think, if they're approved, we're approved. We're in the same district.
Right.
Zoning district. It turns out they're not even licensed properly.
How are they
and
doing
she's
it?
going to bring her client. She's actively telling her client to go there. And I warned her. And I told her, I said, listen, you need to check on this. It's your responsibility or to tell your client to figure it out. It's not
Right.
her responsibility to do it. Her client needs to get an attorney.
Because you can't get insurance otherwise.
No, you'll get kicked out of the building. So
Yeah.
you signed $1.5 million lease. So she was going to sign $1.5 million lease with me. And I'm like, well, I don't want you to lose $1.5 million. I also
Right.
don't want my customer to be pissed off because I signed a client into his property that is now getting kicked out
Right.
because it can't operate there. And, this woman's like, well, I want to make sure that we get this deal done. I'm like, I don't want a bad deal with your customer and you and I get commission, but, she ends up going bankrupt because she ends up in a
Signed it,
bad
yeah.
situation, right? So you got to watch for zoning. You
Well,
gotta
and you
look
just
for,
have to watch for your broker, right? Are they interested in your
Well, that's
best
exactly,
interests, or are they interested in their commission?
you start to see these big dollars. This is a $100,000 commission
Yeah.
for each of us. So you're looking at that and you're like, oh,
Let's get it
but
done.
Look, it's not worth the headaches and the
No.
lawsuits and the trouble. And I don't want to hurt anybody, right? In what you do, you want
wanna
everyone to
have
come out in a win-win
Yeah, you want
situation.
a win-win, and you
Right.
want your client to be, happy, not say, oh, well, this went down, and they both just, all they cared about was their commission.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, you got to avoid situations that are going to put your customers in trouble with insurance or financing, right? So,
Right.
I mean, if you're doing something like, one of the requests is right now I have a group that wants to build a dance studio up on the second floor. I'm like, that's fine, but we're going to have to make sure, you're to code so nobody falls off
Right.
or insurance companies like, no way, you can't have a second floor up there. So these are all things you have to help your
You have
customers
to
think
definitely
through.
look for.
Right. And then you also don't want terms so narrow
No.
that they scare off the party, and that's what was happening with this lease situation. The broker was coming back and she's like, well, can you do this? I'm like, no, I can't do it. Well, why not? The other broker's doing it. The other broker from the other building is willing to do it. I go, no, that's not what they're doing. They're telling you without researching and not knowing, and they don't even realize they have an illegal business operating in their building. But if I lose that deal to them, I'll tell you what, the city will find out about it real quick if they try and go there. And I'm going to do it for both the customer's benefit, but also to stop my competition
Right.
from stealing it without the proper zoning. But you got to help them.
Understand
And-
that
and-
it, yeah.
And the broker's coming to me and she's like, well, you're making it difficult. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. Your customer has to have business licensing requirements.
You're
but
making it difficult. You're making it legal. Why
Right.
would you
I
want to
mean,
do that?
And by the way, I'm having a real struggle with this person. And my next step is to say I'm not paying her a commission, a co-op, by the way. Because I asked her up front, are you a commercial broker? And she said, oh, yeah, I've done a bunch of deals. I go, have you really? And I pushed it because I don't want to cheat anybody out of it. But I'm doing this person's job for them.
Yeah.
That's why I do not like working with residential brokers. It's not to insult you guys, right? You have a different product. You do something differently and very well, I'm sure. When you're in commercial,
Sometimes.
there are a lot of different nuances to it, and you can't just expect to walk into a commercial deal.
No.
You're going to screw up your customer, and the commercial broker on the other side, me, is going to get very aggravated. And ultimately, I'm not going to have to pay her.
I agree. I would never
So-
do commercial.
And she's telling me, well, I signed a agreement with my customer that I have to get paid this amount. I'm like, well, I'm sure your customer didn't realize you had no idea what you're doing.
Exactly.
Right? So anyway, sidebar, but
Sidebar.
FYI, it's another weird client
Weird
situation.
client situation.
So we have another anecdote. A real sale fell apart because the buyer wanted the seller's farm animals. And again, this gets into the real thing. It wasn't that they wanted the farm animals. It was without the proper paperwork. You can't just take cows and pigs and donkeys and llamas. You have to have, there's requirements with the, I don't know which group it is.
Farm Bureau, probably.
Farm Bureau, FDA potentially.
Something.
You have to get proper permits. You have to know how to take care of these animals.
Right. You can't just have I'm going to build it and they will come.
Well, you already have it built and you're like, oh, it'll be great. I'll figure out how to pour the slop in the pig bucket, right?
Right.
You don't know what you're doing.
What the llama eats.
And all your pigs start dropping dead. And by the way, you can't butcher a dead pig that died because you've starved it to death, right?
Oh my God. Okay, let's move off the farm. Move off the farm.
But again, insurance and liability issues
right.
ended up causing a deal the buyer should have known or been told by their broker. There's a lot more to this. It's more complex. You can't just do this.
You can't just do
rubber
it.
Stamp it.
No.
All right, carry us into the next one.
Yeah. There's some key terms we want to make sure everyone knows, like contingency, the escalation clause, personal property addendum.
Well, yeah, these are all around navigating a strange request, right?
Right, and then the personal property addendum is when you put in there, the chandelier is included.
Lists and items that are excluded in the sale, right? Specifically.
Exactly.
If you love it and you want it coming with you, just be safe. Call it out.
Yeah.
In the contract. Because you could have left the chandelier up there, but you had to write it as an exclusion.
It didn't matter.
No. If you wrote it as an exclusion.
She fell in love with it.
Okay, well,
she didn't care.
There's dangers to it. You should replace it.
Danger.
Right.
I told him danger.
Where was Will Robinson when you needed him?
Well,
right?
I don't know.
Right. The exclusion clause or escalation clause. So escalation clauses are used in leases, right?
Right.
We escalate the rent.
And when you put in your highest and best too.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I'd never seen this before, though.
We do
it
all
raises
the
a
time.
buyer's offer under certain conditions.
Yeah.
So maybe it's first right of refusal type clause? Mm-mm. No?
So say there was 19 offers and your offer is, let's just say $340. The next offer comes in at $345. You have an escalation clause that you'll go up to $350.
Okay.
So you continually
So it's an
go up.
automatic
Yeah.
escalation.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. And the contingency. So a condition that must be met for the sale to proceed.
Right.
So you have to take my Aunt Bessie with you.
And put her on the roof.
I always loved Aunt Bessie. She's wonderful. I'd never make that happen.
But
Dean might put in keep Zeus. Could that happen?
What?
Zeus is Dean's dog.
It's coming for the weekend. So contingency could be the mortgage contingency, selling another house, other things too. So just remember that.
Or keep the dog.
What?
Could be keep the dog.
I'm not keeping the dog. So those are just types of things that you have to look out for.
Yeah.
We talked about the chandelier. We talked about our lovely washer issue. One of the things I just came across with a friend that's looking for a 3-flat, found a great 3-flat over by Black, the Pratt and Ridge kind of over there, and has some tenants in it, but they're paying each of them are 3 bedrooms. These guys are paying way below market. And so I asked the broker, I'm like, any opportunity for the seller to buy out the leases? Just to ask the question. And
Sure.
he's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Let me get back to him and see, just to ask.
Great question.
Yeah, because he wants to start something else, and these leases are till March, April, and May, and
Right.
that won't work. So
Yeah, no, that's a great
instead of
situation.
lowering the rate, instead of lowering the price, that's what everyone always thinks of. How can we get these leases terminated quicker?
Right. No, it's a great point.
Yeah.
By the way, some of the unusual requests, when they come in, you have to treat them like any other deal term.
Yeah.
Right? You need to document.
Document.
Quantify it.
Quantify
Document it. And
document
clarify
it.
ownership and conditions in writing. Because somebody's going to come and blame.
He
Everyone looks to
said,
blame.
she said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to want to take it out on somebody else potentially. You don't want to be that person.
No.
Just-
you don't
just
want. You want it everything in either an email, You can do text, but make sure you save the
Yeah.
text.
By the way, that commercial deal, I'm writing an email to that broker saying, here's the situation. And I'm putting it in writing, telling her so I could show that I warned her.
Right.
God forbid she takes her customer into this other location that they're not going to easily get into. I want to make sure her customer is protected
Right.
from her broker because she has error and omission insurance.
Right.
So God forbid, again, that woman the customer moved into that other location, and then she had to pay $200,000 to get out of the lease and another $100,000 to move again, and 6
Exactly.
months without business because she had to close down while she found a new place. That's going to be a big number,
It is.
and that broker isn't going to be able to handle it. So I don't know what error emissions, how high it goes.
I don't either. And I don't know if it covers you when you blatantly know something.
Well, that's a good,
I don't
now I have a
know.
new question because does air and emission cover commercial deals the same way it does residential?
I have no
so we
idea.
should look that up and find it out.
We will. I'll write that down.
That's why this podcast is awesome, by the way.
That's
too.
why we're awesome.
We go through some cool topics and they're fun and they help you all, but we also become better as we do this. It's
I'm
going to
find out.
experience.
Does it cover commercial?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'll
And
find out.
what are the limits? Let's find that out.
Yeah, limits.
All right. So next, what are the risks and rewards? And let's start with what can go wrong in these situations. Stephanie?
Everything.
They postpone the closing, right? If the
Right.
condition or the ownership wasn't clear.
Exactly.
Best case scenario, it's a postponement, right?
Right.
Time drain, minor asks can snowball into deal breakers.
Like mine, yeah.
So
Yep.
none of that. Why it's worth it, though? Why can it be worth it?
Some weird requests can strengthen the relationship and
Yeah.
close the deal faster. If they're interested in the pink flamingos, you could also say to them, "Hey, that was my gift I was going to buy you was a whole flamingo set for
Yes.
Christmas." Right?
I'm a commercial guy. I don't get into this. But all you residential knuckleheads, you buy gifts, which is cool. It's
Right.
nice. I got a mailbox from my house I built over on Richmond
Yeah.
in Waveland from my broker. I loved it. It's still
Yeah.
up there, I think. So it's like 20 years. But I'll buy the damn flamingos.
I'll buy them.
I'll buy them as
I'll buy you a Santa Claus
home warming
flamingo.
gift, right?
Yeah, why
There you
not?
go.
We'll have flamingo lights. We'll
Right.
do the whole flamingos. So just
Flamingos with lights, even a bonus.
just also remind them, that stuff. Do you really want theirs? Do you want to get your own, or
Yeah.
is that really the only thing that you would like? Let's look past it. You're going to redo this anyway. Does that
Right.
really apply? That kind of thing.
Now, in some cases, these sellers may see it solving a problem, right?
Right.
So, in the chandelier situation, not so much.
Not so much. No.
But in a luxury condo buyer in New York City, owning a great wine collection and/or having a giant piano in their facility, and it creates a PR-worthy story that might go into the news, but also it solves a problem for that person. Yeah, I love the wine; it's great, but that's moving 400 bottles of wine.
yeah. Why would they want to do that?
Well, you may want the wine, but it has to cost a lot of money to move in a temperature-controlled environment.
Right.
Very expensive wine. So probably people don't think about that when they're talking about moving their wine cellar, right?
Right.
It has to be done expeditiously.
and we know grand pianos are a nightmare.
Grand pianos are a nightmare to
Nightmare.
move. And, depending on the type of building you're in, you may have to do it with, pulleys and stuff
Cranes and,
outside the
right?
building. Right.
Yeah.
So getting somebody to take it, I have I have a situation where I live actually in my current unit.
Oh God, what do you
that
have to get
this
rid of?
guy put a hutch in there.
Oh.
Beautiful hutch. I have still no idea how he got the damn thing in there. I don't know how to get it out of the place.
Wait a minute, the
I
one
don't
in
know
your
how to get
dining
it out.
room?
Yes. I don't know how to get it out. It's gigantic. It's like 2.5 feet to 3 feet deep, 6 feet wide, 7.5 feet tall.
Does it come apart?
You'd have to take the whole thing apart. You'd have to literally
Is that
take,
how you got it in there?
I didn't get it in. It's the tenant from before me. Like 2 tenants earlier. It's still there. It's been there 10 years. I don't think it's ever leaving.
It's never leaving.
It's
You
never
might
going
have
to
to
leave.
start. You might have
'Cause
to access.
I looked at it. I tried to get it out, and it was like wet, scratching the walls. Then I tried the back stairs. You absolutely cannot get it out. This thing is coming out one way
Chop
with
it
an
up.
axe.
Chop it up. Chop it up and put it in the wood
in the
burn it
chipper, the wood chipper.
the wood chipper and burn
Wood
it in
chipper.
the backyard.
You can't burn in the city.
Oh, okay.
She's a
Okay,
scofflaw.
right.
Scofflaw.
Right.
She's in Des Plaines now. She burns
Right,
stuff
so
all
I
the
moved
time.
out of the city because you cost too much.
Her
to live
brother,
there.
she grew up, by the way, with her father burning
everything.
toxic waste.
He burned everything.
All the garbage.
All the garbage.
Chemical. And to this day, her brother does it. I won't dime him out for where he's located.
can't.
So he can't get located by the
DNR.
EPA.
Yeah, EPA, DNR.
I don't think he's shooting animals without a permit,
I
but
don't know.
he's definitely burning toxic waste.
Yes.
We won't talk about that, though.
No.
All right, so let's go through our case study. So there's a great case study to go through about where this kind of scenario occurred.
Yeah.
It was a historic brownstone relocation family from New York to Chicago. The buyer requested seller's antique baby grand piano. Now, baby grand.
Like, why wouldn't they just give it to him?
Well, it could have been, baby grand piano, depending on who made it. Could be 20, 50.
Okay, and like
there are
everyone's
violins that are $2 million.
I understand, but who's sitting down playing the piano really?
Well, come on, that's a silly thing. In wealthy families that
I
have
think
spare
wealthy
time on their
family
hands.
just stick the grand piano in the living room. That's about it.
No,
Hate
no,
to
they
say.
play it.
Well, buy another one where
I've
you
been to
go
parties where they
next.
play it. Well, the seller wanted it gone, and it ended up becoming a relationship builder.
Yeah.
So they ended up talking about it, where it came from, the history of it, who and why the buyer wanted it, and their family, and how their daughter was a pianist, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Some story like that. And it ended up being a great strategic relationship builder, and it made the clothing go smooth.
Yeah.
Sorry, closing go smoothly.
Right. Someone
Say
wanted
that
the
10 times
piano.
fast.
Not anyone I know, but like if you go on Craigslist, how many free pianos are there? 150? Facebook
Yeah, there are.
Marketplace?
That's a good point. There are
Right.
pianos all over the place.
Free. But you have
You
to
got to
move
move
it.
them. You got to move them. A lot of people in the rehab these days with bad backs are
my
moving those
God.
pianos.
Oh my God. All right. So question and answers. Can the buyer really demand I repaint before the closing?
Yeah, you can demand anything you want. I mean, but the seller isn't obligated.
No, you just
Right,
give,
so-
the biggest thing, the biggest way to get rid of some of these headaches is just give a credit. If you think it's a big deal and
I wouldn't give her credit for that.
Well,
Forget
and
about it. I'm not
and-
repainting somebody else's house.
I mean, but
Unless
It's
I'll
a-
go through this. If it's unsightly, it's stained, it doesn't look good, but
Right.
it should have been staged, right?
Right.
And that's one of the staging factors is make this paint not look like it's terrible. Don't have chipping lead paint.
right.
So that's a situation where
So
you'd
then
say,
you just do a credit and say, okay, it's going to cost $4,000.
Yeah.
I'll give you half.
people do get freaked out about some of this environmental stuff these
Yeah,
days.
a little bit. Yeah.
Even though it's ridiculous in a lot of cases.
Oh,
But the
stop.
chipped lead paint.
There is no chip lead paint anymore. Remember?
No, I'm sure. Isn't there?
There's
What? Why is that?
because we
Because you
test
close your
for
eyes to it? See no evil.
I see no evil, hear no evil.
Watch out for that.
Oh my God.
So, tool ideas. So, we're going to give you a little tool list. It's kind of a silly list. But if you have any ideas and experiences you went through, please send them through to us so we can
Right.
relate your funny stories as well. Because we'll probably do this again, scariest client stories.
I think
in
we'll do it
October.
on Halloween.
Right.
Maybe we'll dress up.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
You should dress up.
Should. We'll bring our scariest guest on our scariest episode.
So, and we'll have these tools for you. So we have the negotiation checklist and an unusual inclusion checklist as well, or addendum,
Yeah.
we'll call it. But send us your stories. Now, remember, key takeaways. You want to go through this?
Sure. Not every weird request is a deal breaker.
No.
You know, it's
Assess the risk
And the
versus
reward.
right? So
always
it could be a
document
strategic
everything.
benefit.
Document.
Yes. Always document everything.
Document.
Absolutely. We've learned that.
And
What else?
some strange requests do come to be, like you said, selling the wine instead of moving it.
No, my pheasant reef. I think that would be a selling point. I'd be able to sell my house
So
quicker
I wonder
because
how
I had
much.
the pheasant
I
reef.
want you to go online and find out how much the dentist paid for the pheasant ring.
I don't. I bet it was a couple $100 easy.
And his whole life was being blown up for $5.
Well, that segment of his life.
Right, and all
He
his
did- they
all
did
his
very
hunting
well
gear
overall.
that was still had tags on it,
It
$10.
sold for very little money. It was
You
very
didn't buy any
disappointing.
hunting gear,
I have plenty. I don't need any more.
right?
Yeah.
We know.
Yep.
We know.
I'm not like a hoarder. Oh, I didn't tell the hoarding story. Sorry. I got a hoarding story. This has totally screwed up a deal for me too. So learn from my experience. Had a customer, great property, 30,000 square feet right on the Lake Michigan, literally on Lake Michigan.
No way.
I could still sell it to you. I went in the guy's house, which is it's a historic house from one of the railroad magnates that
Where
owned
is it on Lakeshore Drive?
South Shore Drive.
Okay.
I don't want to get into it explicitly.
No. But
it's
south
right
of
on the lake. Literally, there's a park and then the lake.
Oh,
you could walk right out your door there. I'm trying to sell it now, but I got a buyer for this property. Now, when I went into it, this house is huge. It's old, but the guy's like a hoarder.
Ew.
It's not food hoarding or anything.
No, but weird
it's,
hoarding is still
It's
ill.
hoarding. It's just, he's so, poor guy, disorganized all over the place. And he and his wife live in there. And so I got a buyer, and he immediately, I knew he was a little on edge.
Yeah.
And when I brought this buyer in, he's like, I gotta move. I'm gonna have to fly back. I need to be there. He needs to hold my hand. He has to be at every showing. I'm like, they don't want you there.
No.
They don't want you there. You don't need to be anywhere. All you need to do is get your stuff moved out. And now I've never dealt with a hoarder.
They don't want to move their stuff out.
Oh my God, it's like a horror story.
You have to
He
go
wants to
by
hold on to
piece
everything.
by piece.
Oh my God, and I kind of thought it was not going to go well, but I hope his family was going to come up.
Yeah.
But I can't even get to that point. It's like, so we're blowing up this deal, and I was going to get him a good deal for his property, and I spent a lot of time trying to market this thing.
Hoarders can't part with their stuff.
And actually, your brother and I went to a hoarder sale of a property in Delray Beach. Not Delray, right out of Delray Beach. And it's just sad. This woman was in there. She had 2 kids, special needs.
And they're just living in
Oh,
filth.
my God. I mean, it was packed with brand new microwaves in the box,
And
brand new things here, brand new, and stacks of paper everywhere, and a pool that was destroyed and not maintained. And this house was amazing like 5 years ago. So I think my guess is with the special needs kids coming along and stuff, it put pressure on her. And
I think, that
fell into
just
this
screams
situation.
like, we haven't talked about mental health, but that's definitely, there's people that you can call to help him deal with that. And maybe he'll be able to reconcile with it, but
yeah, no,
that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And you need to recognize this, is my suggestion. I got into this podcast thing with Stephanie, and we found a new medical condition. Podcast to pause.
Stop. That's when people irritate you at all levels, and they blame your medical condition on it. But it's because, like my dad said, if you're 15 minutes late, or if you're 15 minutes ahead of time, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late.
Yeah, that's not what we're talking about.
Right. No. So John irritates me at a regular level. So,
hey, so our sign-off line is whether it's a parrot, a piano, John being late, or a purple paint job.
Right.
Remember, you're in the business of
Just
solving
solve
problems.
the problem.
Solve these problems. Look out in advance for them. Find them ahead of time. Nip them in the bud, like I should have done with my hoarding buddy, and make the best of it, people. So thanks for participating in our podcast today.
Thanks,
we
you
love
guys.
your feedback. We had a great time talking to you, and we greatly appreciate
We will
your
talk to you
feedback,
soon.
your insights, your comments, and any cures you may have for Podcast to Pause, because it's a very serious issue in today's world.
It's a very serious issue, and John is going to have very serious consequences after we're done. Bye.
Bye, everyone.